Hi Virgo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your October 2025 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always, and also pulled the four agreements and wisdom oracle card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, we have Mercury. And Mercury just moved out of your sign recently into Libra, and it's going to be there until the 6th of October, at which point it will go to Scorpio. And then at the very end of the month, it'll move to Sag. It'll also be in shadow toward the end of October as well. So yeah, pretty much it's in your second house, it'll move into your third house, and then finally to your fourth. Alright, we have 8. So 8th house energy for you guys is Aries, and we actually will have a full moon in Aries on the 6th of October. We've had Chiron there for quite some time as well. Currently, Neptune is still in there, although around the 22nd, it'll move back into Pisces in its retrograde motion. But yeah, 8th house in general points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments. And we have Capricorn. So Capricorn, for you guys, that's your 5th house, romance, creativity, children. That area of the zodiac is pretty quiet right now, but of course you could see some shifts within that area of life as well. All right, so we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Two of Wands, Aries energy. And challenging that, we have the Knight of Cups, Pisces energy. So what I'm seeing with this is it looks like you might be exploring new opportunities right now, and the challenge could be that an existing one might try to sweeten the deal for you at that point, right? So, which is always interesting, right? It always seems a little disrespectful that once you're finally fed up with the current circumstances and you're looking for something better, all of a sudden, hey, oh yeah, I totally forgot I could give you all these other things, right? So that could be what you're dealing with there, but yeah, looks like there's definitely this desire to explore something new, and then the challenge could be that something you've been dealing with, a partnership. Now, people tend to think romantic connections when they hear partnership, and for Pisces energy for you guys, that certainly is possible, but could be a business partnership as well, even friendships to a lesser extent. But yeah, looks like that's pretty much what's going to be happening here is when you start to explore what else is out there, all of a sudden they want to come back around and offer more than they'd currently been offering. In the foundation position, we have the Nine of Swords. So yeah, so for some of you, this does seem a little more likely that it could be a career-related situation, given that this represents your 10th house of career and social status. But yeah, to me, it looks like whatever the situation is, this looks like something that you spent a lot of time thinking over, right? Trying to figure out the best way to approach it. And then obviously you must have just reached that point of frustration where you're now ready to just take action and look for something different. In the past position, we have the Five of Swords. So yeah, this is Aquarius energy, which is actually your 6th house of work, health, daily routines. So there's definitely a lot of indicators here pointing to this being more of a work-related thing than romance or friendship, but it could, of course, be those other dynamics as well. But yeah, looks like there just might have been some underhanded dealings in that situation, whatever it may have been. So again, I could see this going with what I was saying with if it's a work dynamic, for example, right? Where again, they were trying to come out on top, right? So they were going to offer you the bare minimum and try to get the most out of you, right? And then obviously if that burns you out, you get to the point where like, yeah, let me see what else is out there. Now all of a sudden, magically, they're willing to offer more, right? So again, if this is the energy this person was in the past, right, then I wouldn't necessarily expect them to have had a genuine change of heart, right? This is just their, oops, I'm backed into a corner. Let me now try to make things more fair. In the present position, we have the moon. So yeah, of course, at the time of recording this, we're just about to have that new moon solar eclipse in your sign. So we had a new moon in your sign when we first started the season, and now we have the second one, which is going to be the solar eclipse. So it's rare to have two new moons in your sign within a season. So there's already significance with that, but to see this come up in the present position says to me that, yeah, you should definitely keep an eye on those lunar cycles. So, of course, like we said, we have that eclipse. After that, the next significant lunar cycle will be that full moon in Aries, and given that eighth house came up for you guys, that's certainly something to keep an eye on as well. And then eventually, right at the end of Libra season, there's going to be a new moon in Libra as well, which would be a second house energy for you guys. So yeah, you could definitely see some shifting around finances for sure this month, but that's what I see with that. All right, in the near future position, we have Strength. So this is the major arcana card for Leo, and what I'm getting with this, especially given that for you guys, Leo energy is your 12th house, I'm getting inner strength with this, right? So it could just be one of those things where, like I said, if you might see right through this attempt from this party here, right, where they come through and all of a sudden now they have this magical offer that they could have given you from the start, right? But they weren't winning in that dynamic, so they didn't want to do so, right? Could be one of those things where, like, even if you see right through the situation, I feel like this is saying that you're still going to handle it with class. You know, you're not going to make a scene or just turn into an ego battle, right? Which we see with that Five of Swords in the past. I feel like this is saying you're going to handle it with grace, but, you know, you're going to do what's best for you in the situation. Speaking of which, in the position of your influence in the situation, we have Death. So, yeah, this is Scorpio energy here, which is your third house of communication. And we talked about how, well, actually, right around the time of that Aries full moon, that's when Mercury will move into your third house of communication. So, yeah, that full moon between the Aries energy, and this, there could definitely be some significant talks taking place around that time. But yeah, it looks like ultimately for a lot of you, you might ultimately decide to leave this dynamic behind, right? So that's what I'm seeing with that. And then, of course, I mean, technically, as we get toward the end of October, we will enter into Scorpio season as well. So maybe even for some of you, it might take a little bit longer for you to take action on it. But it's starting to seem like all this is going to come to a head earlier in the month for most of you. In the environment position, we have the Three of Swords. So Libra energy here. And yeah, this just gives me that energy of what we were saying, right? Where someone tried to, well, I mean, look at the artwork. The artwork kind of gives it away as well, right? So if we look at the person here, they're holding three swords, which for one is impractical at the very least, right? But here we also see three swords, right? So someone who does approach things with this energy, right? With that energy of deceit, underhandedness, could just be saying that, yeah, ultimately when karma plays out, right, this is where they could find themselves. So with that said, hopefully this wasn't you guys in this energy, right? Because then this could be you feeling this. But for the majority of you, given what we've been saying with the spread so far, it seems more likely that this is going to be someone in your environment, which, like we said, hey, they took a gamble, right? They wanted to come out on top in the situation in an underhanded way. And now that you're moving on from that dynamic, now they're going to be left with the karma of that. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Six of Wands. So yeah, so Leo energy here, and you know, I would guess at least for some of you, this would be more of a hope, right? Generally speaking, this is a positive card, so it'd be rare for it to be a fear for someone. But then again, you guys don't necessarily like the spotlight and recognition too much, right? So could go either way. But yeah, this is probably you just hoping to feel like you ultimately did make the right move, right? If nothing else, where you start to see signs externally that do validate that yes, the move that you did ultimately make was the right one. And from what I'm seeing, that would be the case. In the outcome position, we have the King of Pentacles. So this is Taurus energy here. I mean, that area of the zodiac's a little quiet now, although I will say when we actually get into early November, Uranus is going to be retrograding back into Taurus. And then, of course, around that time, there's going to be a full moon in Taurus as well. So this could just be a precursor saying that, yeah, as we move toward that area of the zodiac in November, you might actually start to see more tangible proof that, yes, the move that you did make ultimately is going to lead to an overall improvement. And that's a ninth house energy for you guys. So for some of you, this is even more, if it's not about physical, actual finances, right? At the very least, it could be learning something new from the situation, right? Higher, because ninth house in general points to higher learning, philosophy. So this could even be just you learning from those dynamics and never repeating them again because of that. All right. And bottom of the deck, we have the Hierophant. So this is actually more Taurus energy here. And yeah, I mean, in general, this can point to spirituality. Maybe this is part of what it is for you guys too, right? When maybe you do ultimately decide to lean on having faith in a situation, right? So where Virgo tends to want to be very hands-on, right, and play an active role in shaping their reality, this could just be saying that maybe you reached a point of frustration with this dynamic to the point where you did decide to say, you know what, let me just lean on faith here and just have a little bit more faith in the universe to actually rearrange things the way they should be. And I mean, I do have to say, like we were talking about, 2 new moons in your sign is rare, and then to have one of them be a solar eclipse as well, right? That alone could be spiritual in of itself, those energies. So it could even be as simple as that. But from the 4 agreements deck, we have always do your best, and it says practice makes the master. All right, it says by doing your best over and over, you can master the art of transformation. By doing your best, the habits of misusing your word, taking things personally, and making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent with time. So definitely an interesting message there, right? Because Virgo, kind of what we were just talking about, right? Where I'm saying, generally speaking, you guys like to be very hands-on in shaping your reality, your environment. So for some of you, that might come naturally, right? But it could just be saying that even with that, you might be refining how you approach those things as well. So hopefully that resonated. And from the Wisdom Oracle, we have Higher Power. It won't focus, but there's the artwork, and the number is 4. So higher power, of course, also naturally makes me think of the Hierophant energy too, but we'll see what it says. All right, essential meanings says conscious contact with a higher power, the presence of the divine, seeing source energy in all things, committing to a partnership with spirit. The Oracle's message. This card reminds you that you are more than a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. You have an immortal soul and are gifted with a human life through which a higher power can express itself. At this time, you need to be conscious of your connection to spirit and foster it through prayer and meditation. Ask, what is for the highest good of all? How can I serve? Then get out of your own way and trust that there is a plan for your life more wondrous than you can ever know. You are always protected and divinely directed. Well, pretty powerful message there, so hopefully that resonated with you. The relationship message says it's time to address how much effort you give to your relationship with your higher power called God, Goddess, Spirit, or any other name that is sacred and holy. Recognize that your partnership with Spirit is your number one priority. The appearance of this card also indicates that there is a deep spiritual bond between you and another person who is essential to your growth and evolution. Tend to your spiritual connections and remain aware of your true nature. So, definitely an interesting message there as well. Because again, like I said, this doesn't really seem like a romantic connection situation. So even that, right, that message seemed to lean toward it being more of a spiritual situation this month. But hopefully that resonated. And the prosperity message says, sometimes your work just flows through you. Ideas come rushing in, and inspiration bubbles up from a wellspring you didn't even know you could access. When you enter agreements, begin projects, and negotiate deals with spirit as your partner, you will always succeed. Let your higher power lead. The synchronicities and intuitive nudges you feel will help you see which way you are being pointed, giving you confidence to move forward in the right direction. Don't forget to give credit where it is due. You wouldn't be a success without Spirit's guidance. Humility will serve you well when this symbol appears. Interesting with the humility message at the end, because that calls back to what I was saying with the way the strength card was coming out in the spread for you guys. So definitely an interesting spread there. Hopefully that resonates for you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.